dictatorship are going to be able to continue to hold you. And you should use whatever means are necessary to overthrow them. And that means that if the enemy continues to place you in prison, if the enemy continues to shoot you down the street, well, then you have a perfect right under international law and all the so-called caveats and all this other garbage to defend yourself, at the very least, not to mention the question of revolutionary violence. Revolutionary violence, it isn't something that you just, well, today we're getting up and we're going to engage in violence. It's not a question of this at all. What it is a question of whether or not this is what is necessary for you to obtain your freedom. And if people will join the military and oppress other people, and then come home and say, well, we're turning the other cheek now, and we're being nonviolent. It's insane. It's a sickness. And Malcolm X talked about this better than anyone in our period, along with Huey P. Newton, who laid it out very effectively. The question was, are you going to fight for freedom, or are you going to continue to remain in slavery? And this is really the issue. So we don't accept the idea of attacking someone because of their race or just attacking someone unnecessarily, but we do say that if you are attacked, you should defend yourself, at the very least.
Let's Organise the Hood organisation that you both got. And on the 24th of September 2012, 15-year-old Justin Thompson was shot by an off-duty Memphis cop. I want to know kind of what work you've done in the local community to help rebuild the barrier. Because I know particularly in 2012, I know there was 23 kind of offences committed by Memphis police for like DUI, digital and sex trafficking. So what work you've done in the local community to help rebuild the barrier between Memphis and police?
This was made to police brutality in the city where Lorenzo and I live, Memphis, Tennessee. It's in the southern part of the United States. Memphis, Tennessee, by the way, its population is 650,000. It's a majority black city. It's about 68% black. And it has the unfortunate distinction of being the poorest big city in the United States of America, the poorest big city. So, that's a whole other discussion about the levels of poverty and unemployment. But regarding the Justin Thompson and the problem of police brutality in Memphis is very serious. Since February of 2012, the Memphis Police Department, which is, about half, about 50% black, the officers are black because it's a majority black city. But since February of 2012, the Memphis police have killed 21 people. So that's about an 18-month period, maybe 19 months, but less than 2 years. They have killed 21 people, at least 19 of whom were black. There may have been more. We can't always find out about everybody, but we know that they have killed 21 people. Justin Thompson, as was mentioned, was a 15-year-old black teenager who was shot and killed by, they made a big deal about the fact that the time he was shot and killed, the police officer was off duty, which, to me is really irrelevant, the fact that he was off duty. He was still a police officer. He killed him in September of 2012, as was mentioned earlier. And it's very interesting how that case developed. We found out on, I guess it was I can't remember that he was killed on a Monday or a Tuesday, but I think it was Tuesday. And all we heard on the news was that the Memphis police have shot and killed someone, but no details are being released. Now, normally, they will tell you what happened, where it happened. They may not give the name of the person just because they have this policy about they have to inform the family first, okay? But you get a lot more information. All we were told was that the Memphis police have shot and killed someone. And I said, there must be something going on with this case because we're getting no details. It took them 24 hours before they were, and the mayor and the police chief had a press conference. Now, normally, if they shoot or kill somebody, the mayor is, the chief, the CEO of the city, the mayor doesn't usually come out to a press conference about a police killing. So we knew something was up, and they announced that a 15-year-old teenage boy had been killed. And they were so concerned they wouldn't release any information for 24 hours, so they finally had to do it. So Justin Thompson was killed. Our organization, the Black Autonomy Federation, we have been very active fighting against police brutality in Memphis because of this rash of police killings. Nobody else was saying anything about it. And so we began to organize beginning in the summer of 2012. We started organizing against it. In fact, we have a brochure.
Police brutality, to deter the police and also to defend the community. We're going to have to learn what the Black Panther Party did, and this is what we're going to have to do. Now, between the time of the original Black Panther Party and to this stage, you have not seen any real organizations do this to defend the black community. The black community has been on its own. These politicians, and Memphis has a so-called black politician, black mayor, a black city council, and all this other, and a black police chief. These are the people. They don't rule for black people. They don't do this stuff to help the black community. They're doing it to keep black people in line for the corporations. The same white corporate officials, the same white political officials, or whatever. This is who they rule for. This is who they serve. And so the Black Panther Party has always had class politics to understand that. You know, now we're not in the Black Panther Party now. We've started something different with the Black Autonomy Federation. But we still continue to understand that just because somebody's black doesn't mean he's an enemy. And doesn't mean that he is there as a neo-colonial agent to keep the same white rich folks, same white corrupt bankers and the rest of them. These people are doing this to keep them in power and keep their money flowing. So they're not friends of ours.
Studying in order to fight the enemy on a spiritual path rather than the old traditional way.
It was on African spirituality and was asking if they studied any of it.
I cannot say that I have actually studied it. I will say that my late father was a member of the clergy. I grew up in the church. I have two younger sisters, one herself and her husband, they're in the clergy. I have another sister who is, I think she's the secretary of her church. I think that spirituality is an individual thing. Our organization, Black Autonomy Federation, we're a secular organization. We respect the right of people to have spiritual beliefs, religious beliefs. In the United States, people have freedom of religion. That's part of our federal law. People have that. We ourselves do not advocate or speak for or against it because we think that it is a personal issue. That people, make that determination about whatever kind of spirituality they have. I will say this, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was a member of the clergy, but he still got out in the streets.
Call me Tory, came in the 60s and effective. But I did want to ask a question. I think most of the people here would agree with 99% of what you've both been saying. I really believe that. But I think there's the 1% which they probably would be believing, and there's the comments you made about the Obama administration and President Obama in particular, because it seems to me that there is not a coincidence that so many black people, both in the first term and the second term, voted for President Obama. And it's not because they're stupid. Black people aren't stupid. They knew and were fully aware of the limitations of any presidency and black presidency. They would have realized that Obama is not going to deliver a revolution. In fact, I think they know that. Yet they still voted for him. And I'd like you to comment on that.
Speaker of the House, whatever, for Parliament. When you had backbenchers or back scratchers or backstabbers or whatever you got in Parliament here. The question of power, where does power come from? In our belief, it does not come from political leaders or whatever you want to call them. We know that millions of people voted for a black candidate, just like they voted for Jesse Jackson, just like they voted for other candidates. The reality was, however, was that a democratic process? Listen, rich people determine who runs for president. You cannot get elected to any major office in the United States without corporate money, without bankers' money. So it didn't take people long to understand that he wasn't there to rule for us. He hadn't done anything for us. He hadn't stopped the cops from killing black folks. He hadn't stopped or in any way dealt with the prison system. He hasn't done anything we can point to, in fact, for the black community, except to tell us, quit whining, stop complaining, you know, and just like that. So we look at the issue and way beyond just his election. He got elected. He ran against one rich old white guy. You know, he didn't run against a bunch of black people or something like that. So the reality was, we can't take that as some sort of mandate. And if it is a mandate, it's not a mandate for our community. Everybody in the society gets some kind of, has gotten some kind of so-called benefit from him being president. The black community has not been one of those entities that got anything. That's why I laid out to you all the stuff that's happening now in terms of the prison system and all that. And this still continues to happen under his administration. So we're not concerned about him getting elected, although Jonina didn't even believe it. He was going to. I knew he would be elected because I knew in my own heart that the reason why he was being put in office because of the damage that Bush had done to the imperialist regime with the war on Vietnam, the war on Iraq, and with so many other things that he did while he was in office. So we're not fooled by a black face in a high place. It's a strategy. It's a strategy by those who really hold power. Let's just be clear about that. And this is the difference between being a revolutionary and a liberal or emotionalist. Revolutionaries understand that there's a process at work, and this does not happen by chance. This is the result of a scheme by rich people, by those in power on Wall Street. This is their boy. He's their boy. And you got two wings of the rich, right, that we're talking about. We got the George Soros and Wayne Buffett wing of billionaires that support Obama. Then you got the Koch brothers that support the Tea Party and Republican Party. So they're playing a game, and we're in the middle of it. So let's just be clear that, you know, he ain't there for black folks. No matter how many black people voted for him, and, you know, and why black people voted for him, you know.